Like say you come crash at me, right? I'm trying to find space. See, like finding your weakness is hard at that speed, right? When you come and I'm within myself, I'm just finding space in myself. I would say I got a good feel for how they operate from people who are very good at doing it their way.
Yeah. Okay.
And so rather than looking for how it is different, I was looking for the underlying vocabulary that makes all these things possible that are organized preferentially depending on the master.
Yeah. So there's the principles of the art,
Yep.
and there's obviously that student's expression.
Yep.
But that obviously is a high level student for you to pick up.
That's exactly right. So because otherwise, there's no point. It's not definitive enough,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to explain. There's not really much here to see. But I mean, if we were Tensei Master,
Yeah,
then we
that's
were
it.
trying to
Yeah.
push, then you
Yeah.
might see it a bit easier. But I'm giving him enough force.
Yep.
And intelligent. I'm trying to
So
sort of follow
yeah.
him a little bit.
So we are fundamentally being double weighted for the reason that he can load more force on me, so we can see more change being expressed through the body.
Yeah, and I can definitely feel it. Like,
Yeah.
do one of the methods. I'll say what's going on.
Okay, so I will do the method that's like, say, the Wusa, right?
So right now he's bridging against
Yeah.
my force, right? But now he's sinking it down. It's gone down his back. It's coming back up. Yeah, and he's quite full in
Yeah.
So if I now try
Yep.
to fight him, there
Yep.
you go. So he's got that, and he's not breaking it.
Yep.
You're not breaking that.
That's right.
So you've got my weight, but then I've decided I'll try
Yep.
to fight you, but I can't because you've sunk my force down. You've raised it back up. It's in your arm. It's full of.
So within your own self, when you're stable, like when you're within yourself, when the spirit is gathered within, like even I can't move doing stupid shit. I have to find the space in order to move.
Yeah.
So in a way, I'm preventing myself from doing stupid shit too, because I can't move the stupid way because it's stuck, right? I just find the space.
You definitely. I don't feel like any point you're stopping to fight my force.
Yeah, so that's the idea.
Move and
that's the idea.
And redirect.
So even in my own body, I don't feel powerful.
Yeah.
I just feel more free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're not fighting.
Yeah.
You're not fighting up.
That's it. But I'm not being free by running away from you. I'm finding the freedom within that expression between us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. See here? I'm going like space. Yeah, and now my body can move. Right? Yeah. But it wasn't that I was trying to overpower you. Like I'm not trying to overpower you. No, yeah. Sure. So I wanted to discuss today about some of the different components or perceptual models used in different internal art systems or transmissions that are put together differently based on the preference of the teacher or the tradition that create the specific flavor of what that is. And the reason for it is that I don't believe that there is one true path that expresses the internal principles. It's just that the principles can be applied using different body methods and different teachers or traditions, or even different students of the same teacher. They like to express it the way that they like to put things together. So I'm going to go through a few different things that I have done in the past, the way I do it. I'm not saying that this is the only way to do it. This is the way that I have learned to do this in these transmissions. So you can see the different vocabulary and appreciate the difference in how people put the systems together. And obviously, the body methods are different. They're all consistent with the principles, but they apply differently. So the point I'm trying to get across is that there's no one ring to rule them all. It's just different people put things together in a different way to be consistent with the principles and to a level of mastery. But that doesn't necessarily mean someone else who had achieved mastery in their way of putting things together is wrong. So I would start with like what I learned in the Chen Manqing tradition, right? So what they do is that the way they organize the body, the way I was taught, the way I learned, right, is like if you apply some force onto me, right? So what they do is that they do this thing where they sink the chi down to the earth. So they start doing this, right? And you do it in such a way while maintaining the crown, which is being pulled up. Now the crown point, the way they do it is very specific like this, right? And they do it to the level where you sink chi to the bones. So this is kind of how that force will be neutralized. And you see how my body is moving towards you. And if I keep doing the same thing, this is where it comes to the far jin, and then
when you're doing that, right?
Yep.
So for a start,
Yep.
he is sinking
the chi to the ground.
But as he's sinking the force down, my force down, he's also got a forward pressure that naturally is coming out. And then the third part is he starts to split my force while it's still coming forward.
Yeah. So
taking my space.
That's right. Yeah. So the same strategy is achieved by Huang Qingxian, on the other hand. He had something more. He had, I would guess, would be more of a Taoist cultivation method, which sinks the qi in a way that is more consistent with Taoist Neigong, where he would use a different crown point that is more consistent with the Taoist Neigong, and he would fill the lower dantian. So the Chen Manqing way would be organizing the body like this, and Huang Qingxian would change the crown to here. See, now there's more fullness of the dantian and that.
My force is very much dispersed.
Yeah, even though he was Chen Manqing student, I'd imagine he had a separate practice that brought that piece in, right? And so, again, the two crowns, different crowns, are used in different systems, right? Now, if you look at how Yang Chengfu was to teach a lot of his disciples that are not in the family, he would sink the qi to the dantian, but use this crown, so you have that large frame. But his family, he would use the same crown that Huang Qingxian was using and sinking the qi to the dantian to create this. So there's more forward in there, right? Then if you look at some of the older Yang traditions from Yang Jianhao and sort of even from the Chen style, like Chen Yu, or even from Northern Wu, they use this particular mechanism, which my teacher used to call sitting without sitting, right? So here, when they organize the body, they sit without sitting while sinking the qi. See, that has a more martial relevance because it can penetrate into your space.
It feels like you're mixing the two.
So it's got that additional thing, right? Yeah. Now, of course, you can use that in addition to what we're doing. And if you connect it to the crown Chen Manqing was using, it creates that kind of very Wu style kind of thing, right? But on the other hand, if you connect it to the crown, which is consistent more with the Taoist Neigong, it creates this kind of a very sort of windy, striky type thing, right? They wire these things differently. Like even Chen style, Chen Yu is wiring it in a particular way that is not inconsistent with Taijiquan. So while I would say most stuff from Chen has its own very unique flavor, what Chen Yu is doing is well within the ballparks of what would be considered classical Taijiquan. And as you can see, the body is changing differently. The effects are different. So they have their own pros and cons, different situations that they'll be good for. They would be better suited for. Like everything has pros and cons. So the way the body changes is different. So therefore, the way the power is applied is different. But doesn't mean they're not fully functional within that way of doing things across a broad spectrum of applications, right? So I don't buy into this whole one style rules them all, one style is the most authentic, this is the original thing. I don't buy into any of that bullshit, right?
So everyone's different, so you're going to express.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? That's right. Like even within the Yang family, everyone expresses it differently. They put the pieces together differently. And differently in different occasions, depending on who they were teaching as well. Like Dong Hai Chuan with Bagua was notorious for this, right? Every student, he got them to embody the principles through a different organization of the body mechanic to varying degrees. Yeah. So this is why we have all these styles of Bagua, which are equally authentic, but suited for the strong points of each student.
Yeah. Right. So that everybody's different. Everyone's got a different strength, like you just said, or body shape.
Mindset is different. Temperament is different. Yeah. So some things work better for some people, where it becomes more accessible, while some things are not accessible. You know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
I mean, that's just logical. Right?
Yeah, right. But the principles of the yin-yang separation across multiple facets, the Duila, which is the dynamic elastic in your body, and the elastication, the hydraulic qualities, they all exist within that framework to varying degrees in varying ranges,
And
right?
how do you use it?
That's right. How do you use it, right? So it's mostly preferential, I would say, more than anything else.
Cool.
So that's kind of what I wanted to show. I don't know how it'll end up looking in terms of the difference in movement, but you could feel the difference, right?
Yeah, I can feel the difference, and that's half the problem is people want to see it expressed differently or whatever.
That's the thing,
And
right?
I guess it's only I can only give you my feedback.
Yeah.
And then it's what
Yeah.
do people pick up from that? It's up to them.
That is the key is I'm being sovereign, right? So what's happening here is that I'm not responding to what you're doing specifically, right? That's it. Like if I fight you, they can change it, right?
Yeah.
I'm just being within myself, whatever method I'm using,
Yeah.
right? And at any point when you apply force, if I want you to go, I can just keep changing the same way.
Yeah, and
right?
because you've taken my balance is on your structure. It's in your structure, I'd say, not on.
That's it. So one of the expressions that one of my teachers like to use is that when he comes in, accept him into my release like this, but not into my space. So I don't do this.
Yeah,
right?
you're not.
Then you take me, right? So I accept you into my release, but not into my space. See?
I'm giving a decent force there. Yeah.
Yeah. So your force, whatever the force comes in, I'm not trying to fight you here, right? Then I go, right? So I'm not running away from it. Then I go, right? I accept you into my body, but not my space, right? So that's basically the idea, right?
Redirecting my force through your body.
Through my release. That's it, right? So I'm not trying to see where you're weak. So my master used to say, don't be a weasel, in like looking for things to steal, right? So I'm not trying to find your weaknesses. I'm being in myself. I'm trying to find space within myself to express what I want to express. See? I'm not trying to find where you're weak.
Yeah, I don't feel any parlor tricks.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to do a balance trick.
Exactly.
Really absorbing my force and redirecting.
So it's like not something to do about like putting in a certain position and telling you like, oh yeah, like I'm doing this now, so you stay stable, right? It's not it.
No, you're not doing that.
So I'm simply finding space in myself. So there's no aggressive quality mentally to it because I'm finding space, right? So yeah, I guess that aspect is common across all the body methods. The non-butting and not running away. So my teacher, the way he used to describe it is to accept the opponent into your release, but not into your space.
So I'm coming into your release.
Yeah,
so
I'm getting this force is coming into my release, but I'm not giving you space.
Yeah.
See?
And by not giving space, he means he's not releasing and dropping.
Yeah, that's it. I'm not doing this. Like I'm not trying to run away and do these things.
Overwhelming you.
That's it. So I'm just taking it into the release and express where it needs to express. Right? So this is fundamental to all the different methods. So that's why at a fundamental level, the psychology of fighting and imposing your will on someone is not consistent with the Taichi principles in terms of the internal experience. So that's kind of what I wanted to sort of illustrate a little bit so that people can appreciate the different body methods working within the context of the principles, still working effectively in a broad range of scenarios. Cool. Thank you, sir. Cheers, mate.